And in today's video, we are continuing our coverage on Thor 4, aka Thor Love and Thunder, which does still sound like a porno. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, pop culture based content we do on a daily. If you could like, subscribe, that helps the channel massively. And if you want to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. And if you're good, follow me on Twitter sphere, WarstuG. Right, let's get into today's video. So let's get this out of the way. If you're wondering why the beautiful voice doesn't sound as smooth as it normally does, it's because I'm not using the Shure SM7B. I'm using my holiday vacation mic, the Snowball. That's why the audio doesn't sound as crisp as it normally does. So, Thor Love and Thunder. So we're going to be going over the whole plot leak, the post-credits, the cameos, and the endings. So if you don't want me to ruin your life, you've been warned. So this information is coming from someone I know that's watched the movie, and then we're going to go over some Reddit stuff, which coincides with the information that we got. So I hate to say this, but this movie, in a nutshell, it's a rom-com movie, and the impression I'm getting from multiple people I've spoken to is Gore the God Butcher is a god killer, and he's in a rom-com to the point where at times the villain feels out of plain sight because the tonal shifts from being a rom-com to kind of a character that goes around killing. So firstly, we're going to go over the Reddit post because it is pretty much bang on the money. So the movie starts where everyone presumes it does from trailer footage pretty much. So the movie starts with Korg telling the story of Thor, which includes a workout montage, small comedic sex scenes, fight scenes with the Guardians. The Guardians are only in it for 10 minutes. It's kind of been marketed like they're in it for much longer. At the beginning of the film, the Guardians are jokingly trying to get rid of Thor. Jane Foster, I mean, this has been confirmed, so this really isn't like a spoiler. Jane Foster has cancer. Darcy Lewis is in the movie, has a small role. So is Eric, but he attends only on a computer screen. They're trying to find a cure for cancer. Interesting. I mean, I think the Jane Foster storyline is interesting, but I think the execution will have to be paramount when you guys actually get to see this. So she goes to New Asgard, and the Hammer Mjolnir senses her and gives her Thor's powers. The power makes her cancer worse, but Jane knows she's dying anyway. Gore has a family that died and blames the gods, so somewhat comic book accurate. His story is tied to a god named Eternity, which we are told looks incredibly comic book accurate. Gore finds a sword that can kill gods and give him extra power, so he does so. Thor, Korg, Valkyrie, Jane go to a god city, and Zeus is evil. He tries to kill them. Thor gets injured, but doesn't kill Zeus at some point in the sequence. There is a huge crowd of gods from around the universe, including Gornan, God, Korg's god, and most memory, a god with only a head and legs. Thor realizes that Jane has cancer and wants her to stop, but Jane wants to help. This is a really emotional scene, and based on what it's already said, you can tell that it is pretty much a rom-com. It should be a serious tone, so this is where it starts to get interesting. The team then fights Gore, and Jane sacrifices herself to stop Gore. Somehow, Gore's daughter comes back, a young actress, and Jane is dead. So, Gore's daughter comes back, even though in the comics he had a son, and Jane's sacrifice essentially allowed that to happen. There is more details we're going to go over later on in a little bit. The end of the movie, interesting, includes Korg having a kid with with a mustache. Korg is gay, by the way, since all the Kornangs are male. They are in the comics. So the first post-credit scene is Hercules, and Zeus sends Hercules, presumably Goldstein, to kill Thor, who is now with Gore's daughter. Hercules is wearing basically nothing and has one line. This scene is setting up a sequel of some sorts. Second scene is Heimdall in a white and grey robe. Welcome Jane to Valhalla. Other side notes, Heimdall has a son with powers who summons Thor to Earth. There is a girl who fights monsters with a push rabbit. There's also another play sequence like in Ragnarok It involves Hela breaking Thor's hammer. There is a reference to the three warriors. Okay, that's the minor details. So the more specific details are: Lady Sif will lose her arm to Gorr. Gorr sacrifices himself to eternity to bring back his daughter. Jane Foster gets cancer. Thor gets Mjolnir back. Hercules post-credit scene. Heimdall, eternity is huge and can only be reached with Stormbreaker. Korg gets pregnant with a boyfriend. And I can see that being a massive talking point. So Thor adopts Gorr's daughter. Jane Foster breaks the Necrosword. Apparently the goats are huge and really, really funny. So what Bale even said during an interview is there's no mention of the symbiote or any kind of thing to do with that, to do with the Necrosword. So we presume it's not even the Necrosword. We presume it could be the Necrosword from Hela. Sony owns the rights to the symbiotes. So yeah, I've kind of been bigging up that Null will be in this movie massively. I've said that multiple times. So I guess if they were ever to bring Null in, it would have to be in collaboration with Sony Pictures, and then Sony Pictures would want a slice of the money. So that's the movie in a nutshell. And a lot of people are like, yo, Warstu, you're such a Marvel hater. You're such a DC fanboy. Not really. I'm a Marvel fanboy and a DC fanboy. But it's these reactions that are making me think, okay, yeah, this movie isn't going to hit. So one person said, Thor Love and Thunder feels like two disjointed movies crammed into one. Moments came when Portman and Hemsworth shared the screen, but everything else felt like a series of parodies. I enjoyed Taika Waititi with Ragnarok, but this one was a bit too goofy. So this isn't me hating. Now, I'm really looking forward for when the actual reactions, the real review reactions come out, not the actual break-in reactions, because let's be honest, the actual reactions that are online at the moment, they're dishonest. Well, okay, they're not dishonest, but they're not truthful. It is so obvious to me. Someone who has attempted many red carpets in England, many multimedia screenings, I've seen so many movies early. The general reaction is always 10 times better than the review. So what you should do is go to your favourite TikToker, go to your favourite YouTuber, whoever got to watch the Thor movie first, compare their reaction to their review, and I guarantee the overall scoring, or however well they think the movie was, will come down massively. Now, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, just because it doesn't involve the multiverse doesn't mean it's not part of the multiverse. I understand that. I understand, yes, the multiverse is still in play. It just doesn't have any factors of the multiverse. I get that. But in a previous video, I said that Taika Waititi coming out saying, no, there's no multiverse parts of this movie. It's kind of in a singular verse. A lot of people didn't understand what I meant. What I meant is you can't break the multiverse open and then there'd be no ramifications for the cosmos and everywhere else. To me, that didn't make any sense. So yes, I get it. Every movie will coexist and will kind of be part of said multiverse. Sure, I get that. But I do find it interesting where everyone's like, yeah, but every movie has to be standalone. This is not a standalone movie. It's got to be part of the greater puzzle. Now, no, Captain Marvel didn't show up. I mean, the fact that there's a god butcher killing gods and Captain Marvel doesn't appear, I mean, they've kind of missed the nail on the head in this movie. It should have been a savage tone, not a kind of comedic, jokely kind of movie, a rom-com. Now, Thor Ragnarok is one of my favourite Marvel movies, but it just seems from the early reactions of this movie, they've gone well too deep with the jokes, and to the point where Christian Bale nails the role, but they've ruined the role because it's too comedic in between the kind of savageness of his part of this movie. So overall, I mean, it seems okay, but execution could save this movie. But the fact that both Gorr and Jane Foster die, and now we have Gorr's got a daughter instead of a son. I mean, I get it, they've got to change some things, but it just seems a bit like they have dumbed Gorr down massively. And people are like, yeah, Gorr doesn't have to have multiple roles. I mean, yeah, most likely Christian Bale only signed on for one movie, sure. But to kill Gorr off and say, he is the best villain since Thanos, it's like me saying, this is the best Marvel movie since Multiverse of Madness. Oh, wait. It's the last movie. It's only been one movie since Multiverse of Madness. So I don't get a lot of comments about how great this movie is going to be. Because let's be honest, guys, Multiverse of Madness wasn't actually that good. It was decent. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, this movie is going to be very controversial, and it's going to hit with some people and it's going to miss. them killing off Gore will annoy a lot of people. There being no real symbiote connection to Necrosword will annoy a lot of people. Them going too far with the jokes will annoy a lot of people. I mean, don't get me wrong, Thor is a very good character. He's one of the best, but it just seems like they're just turning the Thor franchise into a joke. Yes, but you just said that Ragnarok is your favourite Thor movie. Yes, I did. But at the same time, that had the right level. It just seems like they've gone far too left with this, and it could have been so much more. And no, I'm not saying it's woke. It's far from being woke. But yeah, I have to let you know what I actually think when I do see it. But I've spoke to multiple people, and pretty much everyone is saying this movie is pretty much average, meh at best. And you'll find out that when the actual reviews come out a few days before the movie comes out. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram if you want to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Very close to 20,000 followers over there. Subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.